Brandon McNulty is the first leader of La Vuelta after his superb performance yesterday, the American storming to his fourth time trial victory of 2024. He's now determined to help UAE land their third Grand Tour of the season with Almeida or Yates.
Brandon McNulty,
Today, though, is all about the sprinters, who'll be hoping to survive the wind and some late bumps. Caden Groves, winner of 3 stages last year, says it'll be tough.
I think it's going to be a really nervous stage, but I expect to sprint at the finish, hopefully with a complete peloton and a full team, but it could also go either way, and with the wind, I don't know if we can expect echelons, but I expect a really hard day.
After several near misses this season, especially at the Tour de France, Wout van Aert has arrived at his first Vuelta with lofty ambitions.
To be honest, we also want to go for the green jersey in this Vuelta, but that starts with good results, and the main goal is, of course, winning a stage.
Which would mean the red jersey?
Today, yes. So there's a lot of opportunities today, and we'll see how the race goes. But for sure, it's a stage where I look forward to.
Intermarché Wanty were inspired by the performances of Biniam Girmay at this summer's tour. Arna Marit is now hoping to emulate the Eritrean in Spain.
Yeah, really a lot, because at the same time we were on altitude camp in Tignes with the whole team, and it inspired us to go a bit harder on the trainings. Bini won 3 stages, so it was big motivation, yeah.
After 2-stage wins in Burgos, Pavel Bittner is also eyeing up victory, especially after his fellow Czech Matthias Vacek was denied yesterday.
It was really nice to watch. I was really cheering for him at the time he was riding. I was already at the massage table, relaxing a bit. So it's a pity that he could not do it. But I hope one of us can do it this Vuelta, because that would be really good for the Czech cycling.
Stage 2 is 194k between Cascais and Urem, with hilly terrain and 2 categorised climbs. The second of them, the Alto da Batalha, tops out with just 19k to go, so it could provide a springboard for late attacks. The fast men may not have it all their own way. The peloton taking things nice and easy at the start, with only 2 riders going on the attack. Luis Angel Mate and Ibon Ruiz from the 2 wildcard teams, Euskaltel Euskadi and Kern Pharma. They built a maximum lead of almost 5 minutes, but no stress for the sprint teams. The riders cruising along at under 35 km an hour and just making the most of the Portuguese crowds. McNulty was looking resplendent in red as UAE continued their domination of this year's Grand Tours. Tadej Pogačar wore the pink and yellow jerseys for all but 3 days at the Giro and the Tour. So, including today, UAE riders have led for 40 days out of 43. With 100 kilometres to go, the gap was down to under 3 minutes, although the chase hadn't really started in earnest, with the sprint teams just looking to conserve a bit of energy.
Oh, here we see a crash.
Problem here for one of the riders, and sometimes the feed zone. This is Dylan van Baarle of Visma Lease bike.
Van Baarle getting to his feet rather gingerly, but the Dutchman was able to keep going. The peloton now heading through Caldas de Rainha, the hometown of João Almeida, one of the 2 GC leaders for UAE.
I'm super excited. It's going to be amazing. No words, to be honest. It's going to be maybe once in a lifetime, so I'm super happy.
Mate and Ruiz were still leading by over 2 minutes at this point, though their advantage began to shrink on the approach to the intermediate sprint. Meanwhile, Van Baarle had apparently done himself more damage than it first seemed in that crash.
It's a little bit concerning to see Dylan van Baarle and the way he is and his body language.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the body language. This is not really a moment where you want to get dropped, and that's never a really good a good feeling for a rider.
A great reception here from the Portuguese fans, and one more target on today's stage is ticked off, and behind they're going for the green points, and it's Caden Groves on the right hand side in the blue jersey, right down the centre, Wout van Aert in the green. Also there is Vacek. It's Caden Groves who takes the 15 points ahead of Wout van Aert.
Mate and Ruiz leading the way through that intermediate sprint, with Groves snaffling the final 2 bonus seconds. Van Aert would have to wait for the finish line to try to snatch the red jersey from McNulty. It was soon game over for the 2 escapees, who were caught after more than 140 kilometres at the front, and sadly Van Baarle had to abandon after his crash, a major blow to his teammates Van Aert and Sepp Kuss. The riders embarking on the 7-kilometre climb of the Alto da Batalha, and even if it was rather shallow, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe decided to up the tempo to try to drop some of the sprinters. They didn't quite succeed in that, but the high pace caused a crash involving the best young rider, Matthias Vacek. He caught up again after the summit with the peloton all back together. It was time for the first bunch sprint of this 2024 edition.
Salida, crash. Salida en el lado izquierdo.
There is the leader in the King of the Mountains on that jersey. There's Stefan Kung trying to move up, as is Israel Premier Tech, and Eduardo Affini is leaving this all on the road for Wout van Aert.
Wout van Aert is in a perfect position here. He is waiting. Eduardo Affini is doing an incredible job. How he manages, but Wout van Aert is looking back to see that he doesn't get boxed in, because that would be very dangerous. He's starting to sprint.
And now it starts to open up. Wout van Aert is holding onto the barriers here. He's got a big challenge from Caden Groves, but this is going to be a throw for the line. Groves takes his 5th stage victory in La Vuelta a España.
Caden Groves picking up exactly where he left off at last year's Vuelta with a sprint victory, and that was actually the last time the Australian took a win. The 25-year-old ending his 11-month drought by powering to the line ahead of Van Aert. It's his 5th stage victory at La Vuelta.
Yeah, I think it's been a number of reasons. I had an injury in the spring and missed a lot of racing. But then I returned to a really good level for the Giro, but in the end was not fast enough to beat Jonathan Milan or Tim Melier. And yeah, that kept me really motivated and working hard to come to a race like this, which suits me super well.
Groves taking his 17th career win ahead of Van Aert, who's so far come 3rd and 2nd. Corbin Strong rounds out the top 3. Van Aert can console himself with the red jersey. Thanks to bonus seconds, he now leads the race from McNulty and Vacek. Groves is on top in the points classification, though, by 7 points from Van Aert, with a mouth-watering battle for green in prospect. Stefan Kung popped up to take a couple of mountains points late in the day. That means that he is now the official King of the Mountains. He's level on points with Mate. And in spite of his late crash today, Vacek remains our best young rider. Stage 3 is another opportunity for the sprinters, although this being La Vuelta, there is still a fair bit of climbing to be done between Lusa and Castelo Branco. Join us again tomorrow, and thanks for watching.